Radahn is the baddest dude in the lands between. Even when he's been wandering the desert for who knows how long, afflicted with scarlet rot, you still gotta summon an entire army to battle this dude. If we can grab his gear and it makes us even a fraction as powerful as the real thing, we'll blow up all these bosses, no problem. To watch these runs live, follow us on Twitch. We find new ways to play Elden Ring all the time. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it, and you'll get access to exclusive videos. And make sure you like and subscribe. It's the only way for us to access our maximum power. This isn't even our final form. Now, let's crash into the game. Hey everybody, this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Gravity. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
First things first, let's talk to our mom and get her to fix up our stats. I'm sure 44 endurance will be enough equip load to carry all the gear.
Not this time.
Okay, so technically this could be a secret starting class since you only have to beat one boss to get the gear, but the one boss is a remembrance boss and I like to hit all the remembrance bosses with the gear, so I'm saying new rule, secret starting class has to beat all remembrance bosses with some sort of gear from the class. Speaking of, we have some leftover runes from the build that this is going on top of, so we can just buy all the armor from the Finger Maidens. Lore right away from the helmet. Radahn inherited the furious flaming red hair of his father Radahn and is fond of its heroic implications. I was born a champion's cub, now I'm a lord of the battlefield's lion. So unlike Radahn, who was ashamed of his hair, Radahn realized that redheads are cool. Other hair is cool too, so is no hair. It's really all about confidence. Although, give it a second because the armor description sheds a little more light on this. The golden lion is said to symbolize Godfrey, the Elden Lord, and his beast regent, Sir Roche. From his youngest years, Radahn was naturally captivated by the lord of the battlefield. Despite being Radagon's kid, Radahn was a bigger stan of Godfrey, which is pretty funny considering Radagon and Godfrey did hook up just when Radagon was Marika. Complicated family tree over here. We're using the Knights Cavalry run as a base. I figured the Knights Cavalry are the only people who come close to loving their horses as much as Radahn does. For the weapons, we gotta hit some turtle toes. I'm trying to scrub a dub. Am I right, fellow youths? While running to get that, someone in the chat was doing the math and figured out we actually need a little more endurance to get all the gear. Whoops, let's go back, reinvest, and now we'll be good to carry everything.
Not this time.
Now we've got some big ass swords, the Starscourge Greatsword, so we get more lore right away. Curved greatswords of black steel wielded by General Radahn, a pair of weapons decorated with a lion mane motif. Radahn earned considerable renown as the Starscourge in his youth, and it is said it was during this time that he engraved the gravity crest upon these blades. Nah, dude does arts and crafts. Everyone talking about Radahn paints him as this furious lumbering barbarian, but much like historical barbarians, he clearly had a scholarly pursuit, a gentle side for his horse, and yes, to be fair, massive muscles that would cleave dudes in half. We stan a well-rounded king. Take a little time exploring the world, grabbing all the stones and bell bearings we need to max out the greatswords first. For those who don't know, they have a unique two-handed moveset that's actually just the colossal greatsword power stance moveset, but worse. We'll get to that later. The Ash of War is a giant roar that explodes the hell out of crowds and is pretty great for farming runes if you want to do that. We just blew up these frogs to get the somber 10 though. It's a nice demonstration. The roar is also amazing for cleaning turtle toes if you want to do that a little faster. A second remembrance will give us the Starscourge Greatbow, and we're in heavy load now because my accountant in chat did not account for the talisman weight when measuring out the gear. Anyway, bow lore. Greatbow of black iron wielded by General Radahn, decorated with a lion mane motif. Imbued with gravitational power of the Starscourge, when used along with Radahn's spear, it becomes a true weapon of a champion. It's not really lore, it's just sort of telling you Radahn uses it and it boosts the damage of Radahn's spear. The boost is 20%. God forbid the game just tell you that. For a second, I was gonna roar some more frogs for the money to level the swords up, but despite Radahn's stuff being good for farming weak ass frogs, that's not the Radahn move. Radahn would kick something big in the ass for the money. So say hi to Alex, there's a little bit of me inside him. We'll get inside him and pull that part of us out of him later. Sexy. The boss we need to best is in the warded catacomb, so I hope you have 2 free mana up to attack. Apparently the Radahn Malenia grudge match never ended. It was just halftime because these clean rots and red mane knights are going hard against each other. We didn't fall down accidentally. I was grabbing collapsing stars, a spell Radahn uses. I'm not gonna use it. But Phil, if Radahn uses the spell, you have to use the spell.
Can't no one compel another man to engage in recreation.
The only benefit of it would be bringing smaller enemies in to get hit by our big swords. The big sword's Ash of War does that faster and with more damage. Whoops. Let's throw down with the big monster Malenia brought in to fight our army, the Putrid Tree Spirit. Thing is nasty, but so is the damage of these colossal swords. Jump attacks are doing some real great damage, but that NG plus stance boost stops us from getting a stance break despite our sizable sword. Hang on, we're still in NG. How are power stanced colossal jump attacks not stance breaking? Are we gonna have a problem here? At least Oga is free. Wait, sorry, I've been corrected. And Oga is not how you pronounce the name, it's Onma. As in, if a word isn't said out loud in the game and you need to correct someone's pronunciation of it, put your lips on my ass. Speaking of, Anastia is next. Just roar and slam. Get the Somber Stone 10 for free to push the bow up to 10. A few more errands and we'll be ready to smash New Game Plus. Ghost Bell Bearing 1 is in Radahn's hole. Reach in and pull it out. Must feel weird riding a horse with that in there. Say hi to Phalanx Demon's Holes for the second bell bearing and run around on the ground for the 7, 8, and 9 in Noxtella. We need to max out Onma. Give all that weed to them and they'll be stronger than ever. We can help our equip load by heading back to the Ashen Capital from the 4 Biden lands to get the Erd Tree Seal +2 for more equip load, stamina, and HP. It's a nice all-arounder. Finally, we'll get the Meteorite Staff for when we use gravity spells and Rock Sling, so we have a kind of decent, almost decent gravity spell. I'll level with you. There is one boss we're going to use it on. The rest of the time, just going to sit in the inventory. I tested this shit. I know I don't like it. Early swag jump as we go unlock the path to Alex, but I forgot to talk to him in the hot tub. It's probably going to be easier to get in his guts if we go in the hot tub with him first. Looks like we didn't get a lot of graces, so we just run around a lot. Time to test Radahn's reign on the Magma Worm in Fort Late. It is fine, but considering each use of this Ash of War uses Radahn's Spear, which costs 800 runes, it's really expensive for something that isn't even as good as using the swords a few times.
It costs $400,000 to fire this weapon for 12 seconds.
I know people think I am pretty negative on a lot of the shit in this game, but to be fair, a lot of this shit in this game is pretty bad, and you should just learn how to use better stuff because it's better and it's easier to learn because it's more good. Then we meet up with Alex, roar once, he loses. So I think that's going to be the Ash of War we're going to be using moving forward. Salute to a real one, you would have been a hell of a red main. I really thought that was the final item from NG, but
One more thing.
the Roar Medallion will boost both the damage of the Roar and the Slam after the Roar, so it's pretty good. We have plus 10 weapons on a level 150 plus character. Believe it or not, this Limgrave Stone Digger troll doesn't handle that well. We're finally ready to start the NG Plus file, but if you're ready to start taking your side hustle to the next level, then you should check out today's sponsor, Squarespace. That's right, gamers, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Does selling your goods online sort of leave you feeling like you're standing in the middle of the Wailing Dunes? Well, let Squarespace act as your own personal Jaren, bringing the party to you. With analytics telling you where your customers are coming from, Squarespace will help you build a strategy to bring people to see your beautiful website. And your website is gonna be prettier than the skies of Noxtella. Thanks to the Fluid Engine, all you have to do is pick a template, then drag and drop the different information and pictures you want to use on the website. Squarespace even has color palettes to help those who don't know what colors go together. For our website on your work computer, I went with a monochromatic look to convey a sense of professionalism that might trick your middle manager into thinking this isn't a goofy website. Your website can do whatever you want it to do. With plenty of vetted third-party tools, you'll never run out of customizability options. It's like modding Elden Ring, turning something great into something greater. Go to squarespace.com to start your free trial today. Then, when you're ready to publish, go to squarespace.com/tulokmango and enter offer code tulokmango at checkout for 10% off your first website or domain. While you do that, I'm going back to the game and I'm gonna make this build even meatier. Let's start over and take on the Grafted Scion. Why not? We'll just roar twice and win.
That guy yells.
Malenia normally will give us the horse, but we already have a horse. It's Leonard, and he is the best. Speaking of, I noticed a big flavor fail. Neither of Radahn's Ashes of War can be used on horseback. Come on, Miyazaki. Margit, we just spam L2 and win, but he hits us? Rude. Gotta switch to jump attacks and power stance attacks. The damage is huge. The stance pressure is not. Danger Path goes flawlessly. I am immaculate on the sticks. No one has ever moved like this before. Godric the Garfield, our jump attacks are better than yours. He's heading into phase 2 before too long. We roar, but did you notice anything happening here? Or specifically something not happening? Where's the stance break? There's supposed to be an earth-shattering stance break. We're already heading through Lernia, and instead of taking the warp right away, I run up to Boggart and blow him to hell. It would be easier to spend 1,000 runes, but actually we just hit L2 twice and then triangle to grab the necklace. That might be fewer inputs than talking to him. Our niece Raya gets her necklace back. Radahn is very fun at Christmas. What the hell, let's hit Smaragd. I wanted to just warp out, but if dragons want to rumble, dragons get rumbled. Later we'll go get Radahn's Great Rune, but for now Godric's Great Rune is still the best. Also probably later it's the best, but I'll use Radahn's anyway. Also, Radahn is still alive, so we can't grab it yet. Feel really bad for everyone who isn't Godric. Their Great Runes are just pretty bad. I guess Renala's is pretty valuable. You get to respec, and you don't have to ride an elevator to activate it. Godric's is just like so good. Almost every build needs at least 4 stats. Red Wolf of Radagon. Radahn is just playing with the dog a little too roughly. Or should I say, roughly. He died. Now we're gonna go have a little temper tantrum and become Renala's favorite boy through fratricide. And then matricide. Oh no, she's dead. She's alive. She's alive. It's fine. Time to imagine Starscourge Radahn in Fort Height. Seriously though, you could do a very cool animation of him crashing down off the battle bus. Might seem like it's cheapening the Elden Ring brand, but for a few bucks from Epic Games, that could translate into a bigger Elden Ring 2. I like that. Now imagine Radahn in Fort Faroth. Get the second piece of the Dectus medallion. With that, we can touch Grace and Altus, unlocking the fight with the baddest dude in the game, ourselves. The party gets started, but this is a party of 1, or a party of 2. I guess if you count the other Radahn, I'm dating myself. Well, no, if I was dating myself, I would make a reference to the party of 5. No summoning is what I'm saying. We back up to skip Radahn's arrow phase, then activate our Radahn's arrow phase. It flops hard. Fextra Life literally says you should use Radahn's Reign here, and sure. Actually, to be fair to Fextra, they say you should do it with everyone summoned, so he sits still, but he's sitting pretty still. This is just not very good, and really expensive to use, both in terms of resources. We only have 30 spears, we only have a limited amount of FP, and the fact that later we'll have to buy more spears to make up for this if we want to use it again. It's not just spells I'm going to be insistent on trying even when they're bad. Bows will get a shot too, or this one will since it has a unique Ash of Warp. Phase 2, it's even harder to get windows in where we can reign, and then we run out of MP and just die. First deaths to ourselves. Metal. Only I can kill me. It just serves me right for trusting someone who said there was a better option than attacking with a melee weapon. Screw the arrow phase. I'll just bum rush him now that I know how shit his arrows actually are. We just get hard in the paint with him and send him to phase 2 much faster with these big swords. I thought maybe the lack of stance breaks on Godric was because we killed him too fast before we could hit him, but Radahn has a lot more health and never breaks down before we kill him.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Big brain play though, huge brain play. I get a second Lion Greatbow, which will make the 20% boost to our Radahn spears a 44% boost to Radahn spears. That will make it good, surely.
Not this time.
Remember though, after you beat yourself, you gotta be yourself, so let's head up to the Divine Tower of Caelid and activate Radahn's Great Rune. Time to say hi to our bro in Volcano Manor. Lil bro, big bro, I mean, Rykard is bigger than Radahn, which is saying something, but I don't know the birth order. Ronnie feels like the baby to me. Rykard seems like a disaffected middle child, and Radahn moved out immediately and pretended someone else was his dad. That sounds like the eldest to me, but birth order, much like astrology, is just a bunch of hogwash that can be fun and ultimately means nothing. Radahn hates astrology. Look, Radahn is pretending this godskin noble tried to tell him his horoscope. Guess what, noble? Your coming week will be filled with jumping attacks and giant swords smashing the hell out of your face. Stay open to new experiences, bitch. Alright, time to test the new double bow strategy against Lil Bro Rykard. Huge 44% boost. It's terrible. Absolutely awful. And this is all the bow's fault. I didn't screw up here and use the one we didn't upgrade. Hold on, actually, I didn't screw up here. Someone in chat said I was using the +0 bow and I just trusted them because the damage was so shit, but I looked back at this in editing. No, I'm using the +10 one. Oh my god. How is this the damage of a +10 bow boosted by the Jar Shard and 44% from the bows themselves? Oh well, I feel like Radahn bullying Rykard is probably canon enough anyway, anyway, Serpent Hunter, yada yada yada. I was just hoping that it would be different today, you know? Think of it as a very large Radahn spear. Also, how have we not talked about how Radahn's arrows are just spears? Dude is so big, he's like, give me the polearm. Time to enter our own hole? Crazy. And we get to fight a second secret Radahn boss fight, the Mimic Tier. Roaring really rocks NPCs, and this is a great part to test if the Roar Medallion boosts just the roar, or also the following slam. Analysis shows it's both.
Science rules.
Using gravity magic is probably the best way to carry a manor. If he's practicing every time he rides Leonard, it's gotta be pretty strong by now. Loretta's ghost gets to have a horse in here, but I can't?
I'm sorry, but what do you even have?
I'm gonna talk to Ronnie about this. This is bullshit. Leonard is very well behaved, and this is just as much my house as it is yours, okay? Talk to Ronnie, talk to everyone else. Radahn would beat the absolute bananas out of Celavis, but we can't yet. Back to Nokron, we light some torches. I feel like I'm really getting the synergistic NG plus pathing down here. Try the arrows against the Regal Ancestor Spirit. It's bad. Simply make the arrows do the same amount of damage as the melee attacks, please. Arguably, it should be more, since they're a consumed resource, but I guess the trade-off is that you can use them at a distance. The moose teleports right next to us again like it did last week. That's nice. Roar and slam. Maybe it's an NG plus thing. Grab the knife and bring it to Ronnie so she can ascend to godhood. Why is she an Empyrean when Radahn isn't? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
I'm the eldest boy!
Apparently one of the stars fell to Earth. I hate stars. Let's head to the Incel River main, and the swords don't break the Astel Jr. stance. That's pathetic. I've broken this with a straight sword. Like, the run is doing fine. These things hit like a truck, but the armor and HP is the real reason we're doing so well. We're just not dying as much. There's a lot of rot in the Lake of Rot, go figure, but the meteor health pool keeps us alive. You think the Starscourge would get beaten by a little rot?
Yes.
All right, Astel, just hit him. Try again with Radahn's Rain. It's fine, but smacking is so much better. We didn't even get grabbed, even though my roll was awful. I really don't understand which frames are active of that thing. What the hell? Gotta go to Deep Root now, so we'll take out the Valiant Gargoyles and bring Onma with us just as a little distraction to fix the initiative. Works great. I guess Radahn's Rain is okay if you don't want to be close. Why wouldn't you want to be close, though? New challenge. Fill the screen with as many pop-ups as possible with the rune arcs from the ants, but eventually they just start cycling. I wanted it to look like I won a game of Microsoft Solitaire. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Via's champs are very weak to the suck and the slam, so we suck all 5 of them. First one at a time, and then we suck the last 3 all at once. It gets a little harder, but not much until big explosions finish things off. We've opened the path to the royal capital. Time to fight the ultimate alien, the Elden Beast.
There's a starman waiting in the sky.
Erd Tree Avatar gets bodied, lions mess up trees, I guess. The Godfrey shade isn't the real deal. Obviously, the real Godfrey wouldn't be this easy. He's so cool. We're trading a little bit, but the giant armor and vigor bar allow us to do that. It's important since these swords are slow as hell, and for some reason, I've been dog water at dodging Godfrey properly lately. I don't know why. Once again, no stance breaks, just damage. Put a timer on for Morgott. Let's make this pickle extra worth it. If we can beat Morgott in 3 minutes, we will get the extra 60% rune bonus from the same foul foot we did on the Godfrey shade instead of just 20% from the Scarab. It's a new little challenge. Within the challenge I've given myself. Run in and jump, but he is swatting us out of the air. Okay, maybe we have to be a little more careful. Heal off and run right into the sword rain. That's not careful. Avoid the mucky muck and slash as he's going for the swords and then get comboed by sword rain again. I didn't learn from 5 seconds ago. Haven't had the best luck on that 3-minute timer lately. Maybe next week. This next attempt, we get to be slower and more patient. Methodical, even. I mean, we have to be slow. That's kind of the only mode for these swords. But slow and steady wins the race. Smash Morgott in his face, then head to the Biden place. For Biden lands, it would be cool if our interest in space was based on a desire to inspire the nation to do better, champion knowledge, and create advancements that help on the ground, instead of being a billionaire's pissing contest. Also, we shouldn't be subsidizing the billionaire pissing contest when people die of hunger every day on the ground. Anyway, 10 minutes later, we're blowing up another turtle for another remembrance. Why? Because I had another big brain play. If the Colossal Sword makes a power stancing moveset, but isn't giving us the stance pressure of said power stancing moveset, or even the stance pressure of two-handing a normal Colossal Sword, let's just duplicate Radahn's Remembrance and actually power stance Starscourge Greatswords.
Whoa, this is heavy.
While we're here, might as well beat the hell out of Niall and his boys. I can't remember if O'Neill is a Radahn soldier or a Malenia soldier. I'm gonna say Malenia because he's guarding a Haligtree piece. Regardless, we roar a bunch, but Onma doesn't do the arrow rain. There's supposed to be arrow rain when you hear a roar, my friend. What the heck? Oh well, just keep slamming Niall down. Onma at least does a good job of pulling the aggro, though not until both knights are dead anyway. It's the whole reason I brought them. Oh well. Blow up Ensha, then cash in for a second big sword. We still have to max it out, but this should really help the stance pressure situation, even if it is literally super heavy, adding 20 pounds to this build. That's some meaty weight. Radahn isn't a strength character, or a dex character, or an intelligence character. He's an endurance character, and that's why he can keep trucking through the Wailing Dunes for so long. Fire Giant should be a great test of the power stancing stance pressure. He's got higher stance resistance than most bosses. Phase 2 starts, and we just keep the pressure up. We've done it, gamers. We have found peak Radahn gameplay on the peak of the mountaintops of the giants. Time for Pharaoh Missoula. This place is out of time, but is it out of space? Think about it, I guess, or don't. There's a lot of rocks. Radahn likes rocks. I would honestly trade these swords in for a greatsword with Craigblade, but oh well. Despite everything going pretty smoothly, I don't know. I don't like these things. They're clumsy. The pressure being so bad feels off. Like, it makes you use 2 of them, and 40 pounds, that's a lot if you want to have decent stance pressure. Why doesn't it just do the same stance pressure as a normal two-handed greatsword? I'm so confused by how this works. Godskin Duo, while I jump on the heavy, Bernie is doing great work on the skinny. By the time we get over there to help Bernie finish his noodle, it's already over. Google Radahn helps Bernie finish his noodle on your work computer to find out more. Swag jump cleared, bird run ran, Malekith versus the raddest Dan. I imagine George R.R. Martin pitched Miyazaki a guy called Rad Dan who rode a horse that was way too small, and Miyazaki just said yes, but then they spelled it wrong. Controller battery is low. Oh no, hope I don't forget about that for later. Or maybe I'll just beat the game before the controller dies. Who knows? We'll get the stance break, but have to heal off. Then phase 2 starts really bad. We're getting hit a lot. And since Mally does percentile damage, our health bar melts down. The bigger the health, the more you lose. We even get hit by the big AoE. This is some sloppy work, but better to do it sloppy than to not try. Whole ass capital is covered in ash. I summon Onma for Gideon, which is funny that their names mean the same thing in different languages. As in Gideon. Onma. We just hit him. It's Gideon. It's either fine or terrible. Today it was fine. Time for the main man, Godfrey.
I am your biggest fan.
We're going to get parasocial with some power stancing. No Onma here. Radahn wants to take all of Godfrey by himself. This is another race to win in 3 minutes. Saving a pickle would be awesome. We're hitting jump attacks. It's the best option with the colossal power stancing since it's not much slower than it is with other weapons. These shockwave faces get nasty. So for the second one, we just break him down, then get a crit. RIP to a real one. We did have to eat a second pickle though, so who really won? We did. Definitively, he died. Okay, time to fight Dad. He's got a big hammer, but that's at most half as powerful as 2 swords. Stance break fast, roar when he stands up. We get hit, but the trades are in our favor. Some hammer slammers, it really just takes a few more hits to win. Elden Beast immediately after. Who needs a break? Apparently the Elden Beast, because we break his stance. Then he goes for Elden Stars. Wait, stars?
I've contained my rage for as long as possible, but I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves!
Honestly, if they make an Elden Ring movie, Glenn Howerton for Radahn. No one else can capture that fury. That's the last star we can fight, but there's one lady alive who we haven't technically beaten. I guess it has to be this way. Little training arc. First on the other Remembrance bosses, I work out with free weights so I can do it in my apartment. Radahn works out in a realm separated from time against an ancient Elden Lord that's a bi-headed dragon. He just like me for real. Looks like the bows are doing a little bit better against this large lad. When he goes for the lightning nuke, we can even back off and just shoot him normally. Neat. During the TP phase, we switch to 2 swords, different tools for different problems, you know? He gets to swat us a few times and we miss the stance break before he dives in for the Omega Laser. After that, we just hit his ass. They gave him too much health. Radahn took it away. These snowfields seem a little distracted. Maybe they should concentrate? Or is it like orange juice? Pronouncing things wrong annoys the most annoying people. I'm doing public service here, or should I say pubic service? Probably not. Penguin Noble is an NPC, so he gets hit with the Suck and Slam. Having 60 endurance lets us spam that without ever having to stop. Perhaps I treated endurance too harshly. It's kinda sick. Definitely not as important as vigor, but hey, what is? Moog is allegedly really bad against the arrows, but damn, nope, hit him with the swords after getting hit with all of Mohg's moves. Gamers, I cannot stress enough, if you want to fix your KD ratio in Elden Ring, get 60 vigor and put some armor on. It lets you get away with some silly shit, even in NG+. Phase 2 Mohg has the most health he could possibly have. The timing was really bad here, but I am playing patient enough, which isn't helping us get a stance break. It is hurting him. By the way, the reason we're back to two-handing one sword, which is technically two swords, but it's just technically one sword, is so that we could carry two bows for that bowness to the bows, which didn't pay off, but you can't say I didn't try to make it work. Let's keep doing the training arc. Practicing against the world's most ancient dragon and Blood Satan is a pretty good warm-up, but I think we should fight the full physical manifestation of death. But first, let's demonstrate the power of gravity. Fuck it, we're not falling.
1 minute later.
That was literally 1 minute later. Like, I checked it while logging the video. Taunt and get bodied. 1 minute instant karma, not clickbait. Next time I fall properly. Speaking of falling, Fia falls asleep, we enter her dreams, and Radahn's reign is good against fort attacks. Any ranged attack is basically good against this dragon. Otherwise, you gotta be under their toes, and the lightning sticks to you like glue. If there were more bosses like Fortisax that make fighting in melee range miserable and don't have rapid approach options when you spam ranged attacks, I would probably say spells are good. Most bosses in this game are just not built like this, trust me, I know. This town is liturgical, this tree is Halig, and this lore is Etta. She gets to have a horse again when we don't.
Life is unfair.
Hey, thought I wouldn't make a They Might Be Giants reference in this video. You're wrong. They did the Malcolm in the Middle theme. Back to the run though. Loretta is in the middle of these two swords. How's that for a segue? She's not on a segue, she's on a horse, and we have to be on our feet. That joke came full circle like someone with a fetish for geometry. Avoid the beams, hit her with 2 of our 4 swords, and finish things with a big slam. Loretta is done. It's time for the rematch of the century. The biggest, baddest dude who fought the entirety of the cosmos versus a sick woman who just woke up from a nap. I like our odds. Back up and bring in the reinforcements. Anma is here. We lead with a jump attack. The roar does great damage and knocks her down, leading into a stance break. Anma is laying down that suppressing fire, but we get ducky danced into a wall. Kids, this is why you have 60 vigor. Even when she gets close to Anma, they just pull out the lion's claw to flatten her anyway. This is going pretty well for a first attempt. Phase 2 begins, and it's time for Rocksling to have its Rudy moment.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
Malenia makes an onion, and we throw rocks at her inside. They don't do a lot of damage, but they keep stance pressure up, and we don't get rotted. Radahn hates getting rotted. More pressure from the jump attacks, but she gets mad and does Attack of the Clones. Anma doesn't care, they'll just keep shooting. Unfortunately, that brings the heat from Malenia, who uses Anma as her own personal juice box to heal up to higher than she was at the start of the phase. Whoops. Some roars handle that. That should have definitely been how we were using our focus, huh? The meteors got their Rudy moment again though. Should call it a 2D. I said I had to do this my first try, and even though I'm playing the leader of the Red Mane Lions, I ain't lying. Roar and slam for the win. We get the big crit and Malenia is no more. Stalemate resolved. Radahn is the baddest to ever do it. In 4 hours and 51 minutes, Radahn slammed 30 bosses and only died 3 times, which puts it in 2nd place overall, just behind the Platinum Speedrun, and ahead of the Hot Ones run. Remember, that's the run where my deaths were punished by eating the hottest sauces on planet Earth. Even that motivation pales in comparison to the strength of one L2 pushing boy. And if we cut out that silly falling death in the Carrion Study Hall, this is number 1 actually. So, you know what? Fudge it, it's number 1. Because of the Starscourge Greatswords? Not really. They're fine, but they work best power stanced with the 2nd one. I honestly think using the Olivia Rodrigo Gut Sword with Craigblade would just be better. It's also like 30% longer. These are kinda chodes. So was it the bow that did it? No, the bow got us killed by wasting our time against the other Radahn. It's better than most bows, but that's like saying you're going to the good Applebee's on the other side of town. It's still a bow, and Applebee's is still Applebee's. Millennials deserve more credit for trying to kill it. Obviously, that means it was the gravity spells.
I will kill you.
No, it's vigor and endurance. You want to be a Giga Chad like Radahn? Crank your vigor and your endurance, get a nice comfortable set of armor, and have fun taking hits. Make mistakes, fudge up. who cares? If you're having fun doing no-hit runs, that's great. I love that for you. But for most of the gamers out there, I think turning yourself into an absolute unit and getting to make some goofs will make the game a lot less punishing and a lot more fun. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We're making new videos all the time. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it, where we get to keep most of the money. And follow us on Twitch. We're probably doing something really stupid right now. Do you want to miss that?